all of a sudden, once Gorgeous Tiny hit the homepage, and it was a very colorful and vibrant and fresh, new kind of a thing, we started getting emails and phone calls from different studios and production companies who wanted to talk about, like, what would you do if this were a TV show or if this was a web series? And we had a contact at YouTube, and we met with MySpace, and we met with Sony, and Sony had the most interesting offer. They wanted to turn it into a web series, and so we went with Sony, which became Crackle, and we ended up making 2 seasons of that series there. Kim, produces The Guild with Felicia Day, and that's a pretty big show. I don't know if you've heard of it.
I think I might have heard of it. Yeah. Somebody mentioned it once.
But Felicia had written this really great TV script, and Kim said, "Well, what if we made it as a web series?" And so, that was one of the next things that happened.
And you directed season 1, didn't you?
I directed half of season 1. I came in halfway through season 1 and directed that, and then was offered at least part of season 2, but had to turn it down because I was working on Gorgeous Tiny, and I was very busy. And but Kim and I talked about it, and we thought that our friend Sean Becker would be great for that, so we recommended Sean. And I know you interviewed Sean, because I saw part of that interview on your website. But we became, thanks to MySpace, became friends with Sean Becker and Payman Benz, who are Awkward Pictures. Love those guys. Just in the early days of MySpace, when filmmakers were just putting their stuff up there, and YouTube trying to figure out, what's going to be hot, where's the place to go, and where's the place to meet other filmmakers. At first, it was MySpace, and now Payman Benz, people know him as Unicow from Gorgeous Tiny. He played Unicow. He's Kolak in the Yeshmin Blechin videos, and we've done a lot of stuff together. We share each other. Kind of between me and Kim and Felicia and Sean and Payman and several other friends who've kind of come into the circle, and that circle is widening now. Brought our friend Will Wheaton into the group, because he's he already had a very successful career on his own, and then we knew him from Acme, and then we get him in Gorgeous Tiny, and then he gets in the Guild, and now Paul and Storm have joined us, and through them we meet Jonathan Colton, and it's just a bunch of really great fun people that we have been enjoying working with. We're both working, and we work all the time. If anybody thinks that they might want to get into web video just because it's easy and you can do stuff out of your house, they might want to think again, because it is an enormous amount of work. It's like having 2 full-time jobs. I really think that we work at least 70 or 80 hours a week, and then we'll work all day. Shoots can go over 12 hours easily, especially Guild shoots that Kim's been on this season. And also, since we're our own bosses, there's no one to tell us to stop working, so we can sit in front of our computers writing or editing, or shooting in the garage or whatever, all day and night. And we will often work from 7 a.m. until midnight with just a few breaks in there, and then we'll get up the next day and do it again. We have sponsored videos, especially I do. I work with sponsors for some branded videos and product placements and things like that. And when we're working with with advertisers, there are often deadlines, and they're usually pretty quick deadlines. So that means lots of long days, working with the clients and editing. And we're in a very fortunate position that we have created a lot of different things, and I think that that's the key, is to have your fingers in a lot of different pies. And I love pie. I love all types of pie. Not crazy about coconut.
Taleshmeh. How do you pronounce it?
Taleshmeh restaurant. I've never been there. I understand that a lot of people get sick after they eat the food there, so I don't go to Taleshmeh. But I have met Yeshmin, and he's reasonably nice. He's lonely.
So how did Yeshmin come about then? Well, he started in his mommy's tummy, obviously, but apart from that,
it's true. It's true. He'd call you an idiot for asking that question. He's really not a very nice person. I'm not crazy about Yeshmin. He's hard to work with, and frankly, I don't know how much longer I'm going to work with him. I'm kidding. He's not bad. How he came about. At the beginning of 2010, I made an oath to myself to put up a new video every week for this year on my main channel. I'd done a character similar to Yeshmin called Saul Bernstein on stage at the Acme Comedy Theater. So he's loosely based on a relative of mine from my past. A relative who just something about the vocal inflection I always thought was just really funny. When I drive home, I pass this restaurant, and I think it's a Russian restaurant. They just have all these foods up on the wall, that these names of foods that I don't know what they are. It just looks really funny. I don't know, something was funny about it. And at the same time, I got a menu in the mail with some really like disgusting looking foods in it. I don't know what most of this stuff is, but basically I took pictures from this horrible looking menu. I took some pictures and combined that with, you know, that sign that I went past, and then bam, there was the teleshma. It kind of wrote itself. And I'm an adventurous eater. I will eat anything. In fact, one time Kim and I went to a Russian restaurant and we tried brains, because neither of us had tried brains before. Nice. Let me just tell you something. You might think that eating brains would make you smarter. It's the opposite. The opposite is true. You're a smarter person if you don't eat brains.
They were that good.
I said to the waiter, should we? Because they had two kinds of brain. Apparently, it's like half brain appetizer, and they had the sliced fried, and then they had the cold marinated. I said, do we get the fried or the cold marinated? He goes, oh, get the cold marinated. So we did, and it's the most disgusting thing that I've ever tried in my life. It's so bad that Kim and I both had to take a second bite just to make sure that it was that bad. We couldn't believe it could possibly be that bad.
Yeshmin, I absolutely love, and he is fantastic. You should do a whole web series with him. In fact, I'm interested why you don't do web series. You seem to do, well, you do one-off videos instead of series.
Well, you know, if I were smarter, I would continue doing web series. And I do actually have a couple of web series in development. One, I directed a pilot that you could see, actually, especially if you have an Xbox, it's easy to see. It's called Dix, and it's another pilot from Microsoft. It's about a couple of supernatural detectives. I directed that at the tail end of last year, and they've just released the pilot on Xbox Live right next to the Guild, and it's doing really well. People really like it, and I think that it's possible that it may turn into a series. And then there's another that Kim and I are developing together. But the answer to your question is, it's a couple things. One is laziness. It's much easier to shoot one-off videos. It's much easier to shoot pranks, and especially when I've committed to put up one video a week, it's sort of easier to do it this way. But I have introduced several series. One is called Gay Leprechaun. There's 4 episodes. There's 4 episodes of Gay Leprechaun. Yeah. And that may continue. I just talked to, I do that in conjunction with Blame Society Films, Matt Sloan and Aaron Yonda. Hilarious guys. I love these guys. And became friends with them through YouTube. I also introduced a show called Celebrity Sock Puppet Theater. Did 3 or 4 episodes of that. And that was fun. It was much more work than I thought it would be. Because you have to build the puppets, or hire someone to build the puppets, which can be a little expensive, but and it was just really time consuming. The editing was really time consuming on that one. That was just a lot of work. Yeah. So I did a few of those and thought, maybe I'll do more. Yeah. I might. It's a funny show. Yeah,
it was actually. I have seen that. It's very good.
Basically, the answer is it's just a little easier to shoot one-off stuff, and I have a really short attention span, so I get kind of bored doing the same thing over and over again.